Welcome to the Building Blocks of Bass. My name's Bob DeBoo. Glad you're here. Very excited for today's session because we're going to be checking out two of my favorite musicians. I like a lot of different musicians, but we're going to be checking out Chet Baker and Ron Carter, and specifically what they're playing on the title track of this album, which is The Best Thing for You Would Be Me. And I was just mentioning too how it's how this tune came up was I was doing a show, and the artist that I was accompanying, I asked him, what tunes do we want to play? What would you like to play on this show that's coming up? Because we're starting to do shows again. Big thumbs up on that, right? And he mentioned this song, The Best Thing for You Would Be Me. And he asked me if I knew it, and I was like, no, I don't know that. And then I make it my business to go learn that song and put it in my repertoire, of course. So, you've likely heard that one, right? So that's the best, that's the A section melody for The Best Thing for You Would Be Me. And the chord changes we're going to get into in a little bit. If you're interested, click the PDF, the link downstairs, to get a free PDF of what we're going to be working from today. Okay, so we've got some audio to check out, and I'm also going to put some things up on the screen. And let's get into it, okay? Let's listen to the first section of Chet's solo. And here we go. This is the first little bit that we're going to check out. And before we even play the audio, let's just take a peek at what we're looking at here. Okay, so this is like an A section right here, right? And the melody's already been played. This is Chet playing into the melody, but this is the A section. So it starts, we're in the key of E flat. You can tell by the key signature. You can tell by the final chord in this A section here too. So where are we starting? We're starting on like a minor 2/5 to the 3. A half diminished to D7 altered, 3 6 2 5 1. Okay, so just to get that out of the way, I wanted to, make a point of that. That's all we're going to be dealing with today, but 4 different versions of it. Let's give a listen now. All right, let's check it out again now. So this is Chet. It's starting on the end of 1, leading into the top of the form. So it kind of happens abruptly, but let's give it another listen, and then I'm going to slow it down a hair. Beautiful. Let's check this out just a hair slower now, okay? Okay, beautiful. So I'm kind of cutting off the end of that, the end of what Ron is playing, those last 2 bars. But let's play through that now, okay? So we're going to check out just a little bit at a time here. So obviously there's the pickup, and we're going to check out Chet's solo leading into this. But before we do that, let's understand, or let's get an idea of what Ron is playing underneath and how it relates to the chord changes, okay? So first off, we see that Ron on beat 1 is playing a B flat. Remember, we're in the key of E flat here, so any B's that you see are going to be flatted. So we've got B flat, A natural, A, right? So already, the standard quote-unquote role of a bass player is to hit the root, the 3rd, the 5th, whatever, most often on beat 1. Ron doesn't do stuff like that, right? He does whatever he hears and whatever makes sense at the moment, but he's deflecting, perhaps, getting to this A, and then making it very clear in the back end of the beat. So he didn't even play a D there until beat 4, right over here, right? But that's okay, and pay attention to this line right here, because it's going to come up in another section that we're going to check out soon. So let's play this. Let's play this together. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars together, and just get it under your fingers, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is very clear, right? He's clearly outlining this 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Now that's heading back to the second A section, so it would be A half diminished at the top of that next bar right there, right? So now there's a couple things that I noticed just in this bass line, and we just played it. So the first thing would be over here. Oh, might have just lost my feed there. Yeah, right there. So that bar right there is such a Ron Carter thing to do, to play a half step leading into the 5, into the 5th of the chord. down to the 3. I just hear him do that so often. And it's beautiful. So that would be a good Ron Carter-ism to keep in under our fingers and in our ears, right? Especially on a 1 chord. That makes so much sense in doing that over multiple bars. Great. Okay. So let's play this bass line again. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here, right? That bar right there, he was deflecting as well. I use the word deflecting. I don't know. It's the word of the moment for what's happening right here, because he's playing around. He's not hitting the D. It's like he's implying a half step above, right? To give a little tension, and you can see how it relates to what Chet is doing in the solo. That's an E flat up there, right? And we've also got some B flats. So this is an altered chord, kind of an E flat melodic minor type of sound going on right there. Okay. So let's give a listen to them together again. And this is slowed down to 70% just so we can get a little bit more of the mere mortal speed in our ears, okay? And that's leading into the next chorus, of course. So now let's try to get under our fingers some of what Chet is doing, okay? And then that way we can get a perspective. The whole idea of today is to understand a little bit better the relationship between the soloist and the bass player. So us as bass players understand better how to be better bass players. That was the most awkwardly worded way to say that. But let's try this out. Let's try the first, let's just play it through, see how it goes, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so this is way slowed down from the original tempo, but let's just take a quick peek at what Chet Baker is doing on the very first bar. So this is obviously starting on the and of 1, but it's coming from a different phrase, if you know the recording. So, right? So he's playing very E flat, very diatonic. Nothing is outside of the key at this point. So, oh, okay. Thanks, Ian. I'm not sure how to fix that. So we're getting an echo back, aren't we? Let's see. Let's see. So I'm just getting some idea from my producer here what's going on. Is that any better, Ian? No? Same thing. It is better. This is better. Great. See, I knew we shouldn't have changed that around at the beginning. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So here we go. If we're looking at this line, the E flat, this is diatonically, like very diatonic. But it's interesting to note where he's starting this. Now, right out of the gate, on this A half diminished right here, he's shooting for a B natural, right? And he's kind of playing around, especially like right in here. He hits a B natural, which is big. He's going to do that later on as well, but he's really trying to emphasize this C over the A half diminished. Over A half diminished, a really common idea is to play a C melodic minor shape. And that's more or less what he's doing here until we get to like there. Do you know what I mean? Where he's hitting an F sharp, which is maybe more related to this, right? So we're not all about analyzing this. We want to kind of understand, but we do want to understand how they're communicating, things like that. So sorry, guess I'm not going to be able to get rid of that. Now when we get to this D7 altered, he's heading to a C at the end of that phrase, okay? So let's play these first 3 bars together now. Let's try it out, okay? Not too fast. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And his goal is to get to this C down here, right there. That's a big goal. It's not showing up on time. It's not doing it in real time. There we go. So there's always going to be hijinks happening over here, right? But the real goal note that Chet is trying to get to is hitting that C. And we notice underneath that Ron is clearly playing the 3 chord. He's playing G, B natural, which is not in the G minor chord, but it's leading very, it's a chromatic motion into C. Right, so he's outlining the changes very, very clearly right there, as he does. But you could make a case that Chet Baker is perhaps thinking of C7 this whole time, with this line right in here. So this would be like almost like a C7 bebop scale, if you want to call it that. And then finally finding his way to an A flat right there, which would be the flat 13 of C7. Also of interesting, also an interesting point to note. Now this is going to be another thing that comes up in our future things that we're going to listen to. Oh, excuse me. And that is that E natural landing on beat 1 of the F minor chord. So let's try to get just these 3 bars under our fingers. Chet Baker's solo, okay? So we're going to start on beat 1, then we'll put all this together and listen to it again and see if we have a different perspective on this, okay? So let me know in the comments anything that you notice inside of this. You see any correlation between what they're playing together? Let me know. Let's try this. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now here's another thing to note is that right here, this is something that we're going to see in our next example as well. So I'm marking all this up, it's kind of like playbook, right? Watching, football players or whatever. But this is kind of what happens mentally when I hear this stuff and we slow it down and go back and analyze it. This is really interesting stuff. So he's hitting the 3rd right here on B flat, and he's landing on, so that's a D, sorry, the 3rd of the B flat 7th chord, and he's landing on the 5th of the E flat chord, right? So interesting to note. Let's play all this. Let's play Chet's line all the way through now, okay? And then we'll go back, check out Ron's line again, and we'll move on to the next example. So here we go, from the top. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, so just a beautiful line. If Chet was just to play that line in itself, you could hear the changes happening, right? So it's very, very clear harmonically. And obviously what Ron is doing is very clear as well. Let's play Ron's line again. So this is from that 2nd bar right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And pay attention to all this. It's going to come back. Ron does this again. Right. Beautiful. Let's give it a listen. Beautiful, right? Okay, now let's put it at the actual speed, back to that superhuman speed. Yeah. So it's one thing to learn, transcribe these solos, and then practice them and play them, but man, to put that out there like that, and make a line like this, just on the spot, and record it that way, it just shows the pure genius of Chet Baker, right? I know I got some Chet Baker fans out there, but, right? If I could play a solo line like that, hey, I'd be super happy. Like that, what a lofty goal, right? Okay, let's look at the next example. So these are the same chord changes, minus the E flat chord at the beginning. So this is our second example that we're going to check out. And let me just, let me pull up the audio for this sucker, all right? So, here we go. Now, this audio is a little bit messed up towards the end. The line continues on the E flat, so my apologies on that. But let's look from where the audio ends, like right there, okay? Okay, so a couple things that we can notice here, right? Right out of the gate, this section right here, this arpeggio going up to the 5th. He's starting on the 3rd of the B flat chord. I'm talking about Chet's solo at this point. The 3rd of the B flat chord going up to the B flat of the E flat chord, right? Just beautiful, like that makes total sense. It's outlining the changes. That's a good goal. If we work backwards, this is basically the same line that we saw in the previous example where Chet is landing on the the major seventh are enclosing, doing like an enclosure, doing an enclosure to that F of the F minor chord of the moment. Again, this top line, Chet's solo, is in bass clef, and it's not in the same register as he's playing it. It is like 2 octaves lower, right? So it fits on the bass. But anyways, before we talk more about Chet, let's play through Ron's bass line and see what he's up to here. Now there's a note right here that I don't have correct in this chart, but Ron is doing one of his signature pull-offs right here. All right? So it's going to sound a little bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's him hitting the A, pulling off to the G string, and then plucking the G string again. A pull-off pluck is what I call it. Cool? So let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chromatic motion. This is a 1-3 or 1-6-2-5 right there in the E flat chord, right? So you could either be just implying that through the bass line, or it could be actually happening, right? But it doesn't always need to happen. The bass player has the control of that. Okay, so a couple things to note. Again, there is an A natural in the bass line right there. That doesn't mean that he's implying an F dominant seventh, but just for that moment it could be, but it's more because it's chromatically leading here, right? Very, very clear. We're seeing a lot of chord tones happen and everything lining up the way that it should. So Ruben Rogers and I previously did a section on one of these building blocks of bass sessions on walking over minor 2-5-1s. And there's this conception that, you know, to be hip, you've got to play a B natural or imply that C melodic minor over an A half diminished chord. You clearly don't, because this is a little bit more, that's coming more from like the G minor. Anyways, I'm going to get off on a rant talking about walking over 2-5-1s, but this is direct from the source. This is Ron Carter doing this. Let's play the bass line one more time. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 2, 5. Now that section is a little bit longer because they're heading to the bridge, okay? All right, so that is very, very clear. You know, we see a little bit more deflection right in here with what he's doing. Deflection, like playing around that E flat melodic minor type of shape. And then a 2-5, kind of something like this, is a big motion for bass players to do on beats 3, 4, and getting to beat 1 of the, sorry, I'm getting my notifications from Rachel here. Get out of here, Rachel. Come on, I'm trying to shed. Leave me alone. Okay, so, all right. So let's look at his solo, but before we do that, let's listen to it again. Okay, and that's all we're gonna check out. I'm gonna slow it down for us mortals. Right? So we've got and that's just beautiful to me. I mean, this line immediately makes me think again of C melodic minor. I like to abbreviate it as Melman, which, you know, when I talk about that, my high school kids love that, Melman. But it's short for melodic minor. So it's like basically a C major scale with a flatted third. It's another way. But this would be the 9th leading to the 11th of that C, except it's got an A in the bass, right? Now the D7 altered, you could do E flat melodic minor, right? And that's what's happening here. More or less, it's B flat to E flat, so the 5 of E Melman to the root of Melman. Landing on the 3rd right here, and then again implying this flat 13 type of sound, or staying more diatonic for getting there. So that's a big thing to note. So let's play that line again. If you can read it over all this chicken scratch that's on here. Again, you can get the PDF of all of this stuff. Just click the link downstairs if you're interested in getting that. It's totally free. But let's try playing this together, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, to get the phrasing of this correct, we've got to listen again. So So this might be something that would be easier to do arco. Now I realize that we have some sync issues when I'm doing that, but I'm playing that along over here so I can try to hear that phrasing. Right. Cool. Excellent. So that's a lot of fun. Let's keep going and see what the next example, because we're going to get through 4 of these really, really quickly today. All right. So let's call this done. Let's get to our next one. This one is really, really interesting to me. Let's give it a listen now. Yeah, so beautiful. Let's slow it down, and you can. I'm going to slow down the audio, but the same thing. Yeah. Oh man, so killing, especially like. What is that song that I'm thinking of? That anyways, it's a common pattern. But is that 52nd Street theme? Anyways, let's take a look. Let's start with Ron's line here and check out what Ron is up to walking over these changes. So we're going to see some similarities here, right? Again, right out the gate, there's this flat 2, so playing a B flat on the A half diminished chord. There's nothing wrong with that. And then he's implying again this like sidestep motion here over the D7 altered chord. So we'd have to ask him what he's thinking there, but maybe he's implying or hearing an E flat chord for those first 2 beats, because we're seeing him do that pretty often there. We also notice there's a bit of space right here too. So in filling up that space with maybe something that's a little bit more dissonant would make some sense. Just an assumption. That's all I'm doing, right? Okay, in his line here, I'm seeing a B natural, right? That doesn't mean that he's implying a G7 chord or whatever, but it's chromatic motion again, right? So we've already seen that. So that's another Ronism that we're seeing. This is almost literally the same line as the first example as we keep going through there too. So let's play Ron's line all together. Try with me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. He's heading to a G natural there because the E flat is hanging on for an extra 2 bars because of where they're at in the particular form. It's an A section, but we're looking at a different part of a different A section, for lack of a better word. Let's play one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Here's like almost an implied 2. That's a really common bass pattern to do something. That's almost like Ron Carter-esque. I mean, Paul Chambers-esque, but Ron does it a lot too, obviously. So let's give a little look here at what Chet is doing in the solo. Okay? Again, this is in bass clef. Don't get thrown off if you're playing at home. Let's give it a quick listen again. Just phrasing wise. So beautiful. So what are we hearing in there? Okay, so for me, this is implying like C minor 7, but if we think back over here, it's again that little C melodic minor, right? So this B flat could be more related to the D flat 7, the flat 13 of that job, right? But we've got an enclosure here, and a big thing to note is the B natural that's happening on beat 1 of this A half diminished. But this is an interesting enclosure that we could take a whole session just practicing on. That's beautiful. So there's so much gold inside of this solo that we can take as inspiration, right? So we're doing a little bit of, investigation, right? And we want to assimilate this into our playing at some point and then make it our own. But man, this is just beautiful. So we could analyze this forever. Right, so let's try this, even though I've got all my chicken scratch happening here, so I'm not really quick at deleting it so everybody can see. If you want an unchicken scratched PDF, click the link down there. So let's try it together. It's going to start on the end of 3. Remember, this is bass clef now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Right, and that last note is actually pretty short. It's pretty staccato. So a couple other things we note in here. For me, the first thing is that we've seen something really similar to this before. This almost like C7. That C7 bebop-ish type of thing that we saw earlier, right? And he's playing 2 Gs there. I don't know if that's a trumpet thing or why there's 2 Gs there, if it's just to set the rhythm right or whatever. And then, he's moving on. So if anybody has any, comments, suggestions on where you're hearing this language from, so much of this is obviously Charlie Parker, some of the history of bebop. This is bebop, but this is 1977, right? So let's note this last line here too. What is that? I forget what it is. Anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. Let's play the whole solos now. Okay, so from the top of this. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah. Let's try it again, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Beautiful. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Man, it's beautiful. Yeah, so nice. I'm gonna bring it back up to speed. We're gonna check out the last. Man, I gotta keep shedding on that. Such a beautiful solo. And again, if you're just joining us, we're checking out from this album, we're checking out Chet Baker's solo with Ron Carter. Just brilliant. Okay, let's keep moving on. I just cut myself off there. Let's look at our last example. Again, this is all from The Best Thing for You Would Be Me. That's the title of the song that we're checking out, which is also the title of the album from 1977. We're checking out Ron Carter with Tony Williams, Kenny Barron, and Chet Baker. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, but there is more on the album. You should just go check it out. It's super killing. It's really, really beautiful, actually. So Paul Desmond's on a bit of it, but it's all so killing. Everybody plays amazing. Let's check out this last example of the A section of The Best Thing for You Would Be Me. Hey, so you probably heard at the end of that something very familiar, right? Right, and so there's the end of that happening. The end of the line is not transcribed here, but let's slow down the audio just a little bit so you can hear it. Let's start off by checking out Ron's bass line. Building blocks of bass. Let's check out the bass line now. So let's just play through it and then we'll talk about it a little bit and see what we notice. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. That's obviously leading back into the A half diminished. And then right here, we've got another one of those POs, a pull off, and then a pluck, which is super Ron Carter. So hitting this A flat on beat 4, pulling off and plucking again, right? So what's up with this though? there's a big E natural inside of this A half diminished chord, right? So your jazz theory teacher in school is going to say, hey, you shouldn't play that, right? Well, Ron Carter just played it. So it's cool, right? Chromatic motion, same changes. I really like how that last those last two bars of E flat are happening. So it's like a broken thirds type of idea, as in like root third 2 4 3, and chromatically leading down to A. Just beautiful. I mean, man, I could just listen to Ron walk over this, of course. So what else do we have? Ron is not doing his little sidestep. Before, he was playing an E flat type of idea here. He's finally getting to the root of the chord of the moment right there, right? And that's just the dance. He's always doing this dance. So beautiful. And again, here's a B natural. Again, it's just chromatic motion. He's done this before. He's done this before that we saw. And then here is that line that's just beautiful, these last two bars. So super fun, right? Let's check out Chet's solo just a bit, and then we'll hop into the chat and just talk about some of this, okay? So let's just try playing it, but first let's give it a quick listen again. This is at 70%, so. So right away, there's that theme again right there, the 52nd Street theme. I'm calling it that. I'm probably wrong. Help me out in the chat, you know, what else that might be. Just a simple pattern that gets repeated a bunch. So 1 2 3 4. So man, that's so much bird inside of that. Beautiful. Try with me. 1 2 1 2 3 4. So right from the get-go, he's landing on that B natural, right? On that A half diminished chord. He's done that 3 out of the 4 times in this A half diminished section. So that's a good thing to take note of. And you could make a case, if this is C Melman again, C melodic minor, he's going from the 9th down to the 7th, which would be the root of C Melman, right? Except this is the root. A is the root. Now again, so let's just zoom in on this little bit right here. So I'm saying that this, I'm guessing, is C melodic minor type of idea, right? Which is very, you know, jazz theory-esque, but that's what's happening, you know, to put it into words. Okay? E flat melodic minor is what's happening here. This would be the 7th right there. 5. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. So there's this G to account for in there. It's kind of like an E. Oh, man. Okay. So it's more like a major triad that's happening there, right? Then here's the kicker, is that E natural right there. So maybe implying like a C7, which is more or less what he seems like he's thinking about over this chord right here. So maybe this E is related to the C7 and he's just getting there a little bit earlier. And, you know, in the way that he's phrasing, in the way he's bouncing around these chord changes, right? Okay, so let's take these first 4 bars right here and just put them under our fingers again. So 1 2 1 2 3 4. 1 2. So he's trying to he is landing on the A flat of that F minor 7th chord, which is, of course, obviously outlining the changes. But what he's doing leading into that, we're talking about this right here. Y'all notice I'm using Open Studio Orange to make all these notes too, right? So we're very on brand with this. I don't know if Ian, you noticed that back there, right? No, you didn't. You didn't notice that. Is that we're from that D, he's playing D, and then the C7, that bebop, that dominant bebop type of shape again, where you're putting the natural 7th in with the flatted 7th, or the minor 7th, however you want to say it, to get you down to the A flat. I'm playing it in this area instead of playing it down here because Chet does this big jump, this big skip to get up to the E flat. So to me, get it under my fingers, I need to play it like around in here. And And if, you know, I'm not talking about any fingerings or anything like that today, but if you can go back and watch this video anytime, it's going to stay up on YouTube. If you want to slow it down, check out the fingerings that I'm playing at least. Let me know your different suggestions for fingerings, because always could be improved, especially when you start speeding this up. It's going to mean a different thing. Cool. All right. So, and then when we get to this this F minor 7, I'm playing like this. You could use the open D string in there, but it just kind of makes more sense to do it that way for me. So let's play this whole section of the solo together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Killing. Let's do it a little bit faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Let's listen to it. This is at 70%. Yeah. So killing. Let's do it. This is at 100%. Okay, I'm going to try playing along with it just for my own fun. It's going to be out of sync because I'm playing it in the computer. Anyways, it's going to be out of sync, but I'm going to try playing it at speed. Dad, I gotta slow it down there. I was about to say daddy because I'm a dad. Gotta shed that, man. So much fun. So beautiful. And what I really love too is when you dig into these solos like this and you analyze the solo lines, but then also the bass lines. You know, usually usually we are coming from the bass end of things, obviously, transcribing walking bass lines, which is, of course, super important, but we don't want to do that in a vacuum, right? It's all related, just like how we relate where somebody's beat is to the ride pattern or whatever the drummer is doing or where the piano is comping or where the soloist is putting their beat, right? We think rhythmically as well, but thinking harmonically inside of that, what's happening with the soloist. And obviously with the rhythm as well. So it's very interesting stuff to do to me, but you know, I'm a nerd, music nerd. That's why we're here. Okay, so let's hop into the live chat and see what's up. How's everybody doing in here? You liking this? Is this we're going too deep? This is kind of a new kind of concept for what we're doing here. Everybody got to give a big heads up to or big what's up to Marco. Just got himself an upright bass, brand new today. So big shout out for that. That's really, really cool. Congrats. So let's see. All right. Oh yeah, my buddy let me know it was playing with an echo. Weird feedback. That's all on my producer Ian's end. That was all him doing that. Oh no, I'm just kidding, Ian. I'm just kidding. Oh, you're not even listening, are you? I'm just kidding. But we got it fixed, right? So back on it. Getting some bounce back. Maybe picking up my vocal mic. Yeah, it's probably sounded really far out. I see some cool comments here. Yeah, Dave, thank you for letting me know. Dave's always here helping me out. Appreciate it. So thanks for being patient about that. Mute your mic. Yep. So that's like the majority of the comments was about the echo. So that's no, I'm just kidding. All right. Oh, and then we lost the conversation. To be honest, I don't know the brand. Okay, I'm trying to see if we can... Okay, here is the big takeaway from what I'm seeing in the comments so far, and it's from Rip City. Bass players are genius. And hopefully you were talking about Ron Carter's bass line, of course, and not about how I was getting an echo in my playback over here. But that's what's up. Hey, Samuel, great greetings from Belgium. Beautiful. So I believe my family, the last name is from Belgium. My dad was just here telling me all about it. But it's neither here nor there. Okay, here we go. What's up, Costa? Always got some input here. Oh, yes. I will get right back to Costa. Dave Shepard, 52nd theme, 52nd Street theme for sure. T-Monk, Thelonious Monk, right? Thank you, Dave. I needed that confirmation. My head's always spinning when I'm trying to think of this stuff on the fly. Costa says, Chet seems to always just imply C7 to B flat 7 leading to the E flat chord. Yeah, so a lot of, yeah, exactly. So he's playing the 5 chords. He's playing those dominant chords leading up to, you know, like where he's going. It's not really, maybe he's not thinking of the 2 chord at all, perhaps, or just really trying to imply hearing those dominant chords. But Ron is implying those changes, and Kenny Barron is implying those changes. So, yeah, definitely. Good point. What's up, Jim? Good to see you, man. Okay, let's see what we got. Stray Wave, big Chet Baker fan. Just stumbled on this. Thanks, man. You're killing it. Great. Excellent. Thanks for hanging out, man. We do this every Monday, so really appreciate it. Okay, what we have here? Hey, Colleen, how are you doing? I have realized I need to beef up my left hand technique on piano. Yeah, totally. So any piano player friends out there, I know Colleen is doing this, and it's probably crazy to try to read bass clef in the right hand. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, getting those walking lines in the left hand, that's some good stuff. What's up, Rick? Yeah, me too. This stuff is great. I love analyzing tunes and chords, etc. Me as well. Super fun, right? You can start really getting into it, and after you've done stuff like that too, you go listen again. I know there's some people on board with me on this. You go back and listen again, you're like, damn, that's just way deeper than I thought. You know, it's kind of like as you hear things and you listen to it like the 100th time, you hear more and more each time, right? Yeah, so it's a big thing. Let's see. Edelson, so characteristic. The Way to Rock by Ron. Yeah, mostly because of the pull-offs. Yeah, those pull-offs are big, right? We've done those here in the building blocks. And what's up, Edelson? Always hanging out, man. Good to see you as always. What's up, Alex? Hi from Brazil. We're walking basic forms with arpeggios and some chromatic approaching fit in any standards. Sorry for the English. Hey, no worries. We're walking basic forms with arpeggios and some chromatic approaching fit in any standards. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Alex. So, and we see a bunch of that in Ron's walking here too. He's hitting a lot of roots, especially when he's getting to where the chords are changing 2 beats each, right? When he's going G minor 7, C7, F minor 7 to B flat 7. He's hitting those roots, but he's oftentimes leading either in a chromatic fashion or playing roots, thirds, fifths. So maybe thinking, I would say less on the arpeggio factor, because when we talk about arpeggios, I'm thinking sevenths are in there, but much more, especially at this tempo too, thinking about hitting roots, thirds, and fifths are big time. Yeah, so hopefully that helped. But yes, you can do all of that. You're on the right track for sure. All right. What do you think of Ron Carter's thoughts on transposing? You know, I mean, you know, I don't know if I really want to get into that. Not for any particular reason, just because we could go off on a tangent talking about transposing. But you need to be able to, that's for sure. Any and every key, because you never know what's going to come up. But whatever Ron says, I am entirely 100% behind that. You know, that's the guru. So that's where we're leading to. All right. Whoa. Let's see some more bars of that Chet. Those trumpet lines sound great on the bass. Yeah, what's up, Dustin? Beautiful trumpet player here in St. Louis. What's up, Dustin? Good to see you, man. Yeah, hey, you can rewind. You can, when we are done being live, you can rewind and go check out the other stuff. And everybody, y'all can get the PDF if you want the lines, although they're in bass clef. If anybody really asks nicely, perhaps I can put them into trouble and transpose them for any trumpet players that are hanging out, or any piano players. Let me know in the chat, and maybe we can work a deal out. But yeah, you can go back, watch again. Go back, watch any of these videos again, because we move kind of fast through these different examples. Yeah, so. Okay, let's see. No, it's okay for me. Good reader. I believe that, Colleen. I believe you're a good reader. Let's see. Edelson, it's always fun to transcribe Chet solos. So much, yeah, intuition. That's a great word to use there. Yeah, definitely. Information. And his rhythm, too. Sound, obviously. I mean, you hear all that coming out of the Chet's trumpet, and it's just like, damn, you know? And then when he sings, man, it's just another level entirely. So I'm a big Chet Baker fan here as well. So lots of fun, y'all. I have to call it there. Got to get rolling. But thanks for joining me on the Building Blocks of Bass. Again, my name is Bob DeBoo. It's always a pleasure to be here. We're here each and every Monday, the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm in Central, 5 p.m. Central. And we're going to be right here on Open Studios YouTube channel every Monday. So please come hang out again and check out the other videos. We've done a lot of these in the series of the Building Blocks of Bass. But happy practicing, and hope to see you again soon. Happy practicing. Peace.